Hey everyone, welcome and thank you for being here. I felt really drawn to this spirit animal, this painting. My daughter did this painting for me a while back, and I feel a very strong calling. I'm drawn to this spirit animal, the deer. There's several reasons why, and I will just allow spirit to come through and speak through me. But there's a very strong message here that Spirit wants to convey about love, okay? And it doesn't, not just romantic, but relationship love as a parent, as a daughter, as a brother, as a sister, as a romantic partner, as a friend. One of the things I want to point out in regards to this spirit animal, the deer, is that to me, the deer represents authority, um, and in a deer's lifetime, they shed their antlers, fall off, and then they regenerate. So it's very cyclical. It's very similar to our path in life, our spiritual journey, our physical journey. We go through cycles. And as I always say, it's always about learning, but there's also something else. There's something to be said for taking charge and putting to use everything that we've learned in on our journey and through our path, right? And so, what I feel here with this spirit animal is there's a very real sense of taking charge, right? And with this animal who they lose their antlers, I don't think deer worry about the cycle that naturally happens in their lifetime with losing the antlers, and then they just instinctively know they're going to grow back. So I feel like as we move through this journey, this path, I feel as if spirit is trying to say to us, this deers move with grace. They see, I think I've told the story before, and I find deer so majestic. And I was walking through the woods one day with my dog several years ago, and we came upon a deer, and he was just kind of grazing, looking for food or whatever. And I stopped and just was quiet and just was watching him. And as I was looking at him, he finally noticed that I was standing there, and he took off. He started going in a different direction, and there was a fence about, I would say, 5 feet tall, maybe a little taller. And so as I was watching him, he the way he moved over that fence was just so graceful, and I was so mesmerized by how easy it was for him to just glide over that fence. And it just amazed me. I just sat there with my mouth open, and it was just like, wow, how do they do that? But what I wanted to say here is that spirit is here to say the deer, what the deer represents here is moving through cycles gracefully, knowing that whatever it is that we are presented with in our path, we have a choice. This is where authority comes in. This is why I said deer. I feel like deer represent authority, right? Um, but it's a natural authority. It's like, I know that I'm going to lose my antlers, but I know they're going to grow back. I know I can scale this fence, no problem. And so Spirit says, listen, I know you're not perfect. You're human beings. You do run into stumbling blocks sometimes. You do run into your, you know, overthinking and your mind takes over sometimes. But what about the very natural source within yourself? Your soul. What about that? Because that is your core. You have choices in life. You can choose to sit there and look at that fence and go, huh, I don't know. I don't know if I can make it over that fence. I don't know what's on the other side. But here, if you look at this deer, and you can imagine the deer scaling the fence, no problem. They don't, how I view this and envision this is they're sort of operating on this natural inner strength, right? To scale the fence because they're just have the natural ability to move on. And so I feel like with this energy, there is a very real, very strong presence of moving on. Okay. Um, I feel like it's not just, I feel like love plays a big part in this, guys. Okay. It's being able to sort of approach situations, approach life with as least resistance as we possibly can. And I was thinking about this person that I know, that when I am around this person, I can feel the resistance. I feel it. And it's not just, it's a resistance that I feel like, whether we realize it or not, it is a choice that we make. Sometimes it's to protect our heart, and sometimes it's because we just have a chip on our shoulder, whatever, from a past experience, whatever it is. But I look at this deer and I think to myself, I want to be able to scale a fence gracefully, to get to the other side, to leave behind what I need to leave behind, and to move forward with grace. And yeah, sometimes it's a tall order to go forward fearlessly because we're human beings. We have um, we have that, I want to say natural, but at the same time, spirit saying it's not natural. Fear is man-made. Okay, when we were created as spiritual beings of light and energy, fear wasn't a factor in that. Fear came along as we came into life. Okay, it is human made. I should say it is a human emotion, it's a human energy that doesn't serve us. Now, I'm not saying go through life just being blind and, you know, stepping into traffic um, carelessly. I'm saying that we can approach life, circumstances, um, events more gracefully than we do. And that's not a criticism. It is simply pointing out that we have way more strength and inner power and confidence and faith and trust than we realize. I woke up at 2 a.m. I don't know what time it is now, probably after 3. But I sat up in bed and I did have a good cry because I really believe my soul was trying to say, Naomi, wake up. It's time to clear this shit out. It's time to get over what was in the past, what hurt, what didn't seem right, what wasn't clear. And there are times in our lives when we feel ashamed. How could I believe something that so much and so intently because I wanted it so much, but yet it wasn't meant to be. And we beat ourselves up sometimes because we realize, how could I have been so stupid? And Spirit says, stop it. Be gentle on yourself because you're a human being. You weren't seeing things clearly at the time. You were making the conscious choice to believe what you believed. But realizing now, whatever situation you were in or are in, the realization that you have a choice, right? To change your circumstances, to even the thought of surrendering to whatever it is that is changing in your life. If you can get to that place where you can accept that change is here, that is half the battle, guys. It is a step in the right direction to move forward and to allow whatever it is that hasn't worked to shift, to change. We have, how do I say this? We have the choice to make. Do I resist this change? Do I really open my heart to love and trust someone? Or do I continue to stay in doubt and fear that, like the other relationships or whatever, friendships or whatever situation you're in, is going to be crap? Or do we say, all right, I open up to trust and faith that this will work for me, and stop beating ourselves up for things that we really were, I would say, spiritually immature about. And so as I as I was sitting in meditation, crying, of course, because it's a way of releasing certain things, I was feeling the energy of Archangel. There's a couple here that I believe are with us today. As always, Archangel Michael, of course, and Archangel Haniel, who is an angel of change and transformation. And so I'm going to show you the cards that picked us for this message in just a minute here. I don't have my tripod with me, so I'm kind of doing this message on my phone. So I have to kind of just do it a little different than I usually do. But what Spirit wants to say here, and what I want to say too, is that you are loved. There is, whatever situation you are in, somebody who loves you for you. And it's up to us whether or not we accept that love, and if we resist it, or we trust and we allow that love. We tear down that wall that has been preventing us from receiving that love. Many times in relationships, not just romantic, the other person or persons that we're having, I don't know, issues with, or that it doesn't seem so great, they're a mirror of what we have to heal, right? Their actions or whatever it is. It is a reflection of what we have to heal within us. And guys, we can manifest and bring in what we fear the most sometimes. And so it's really important to be in that place of grace, going forward fearlessly into scaling that fence into the unknown, but having faith and trust that however we land, wherever we land, is where we're supposed to be. And so here I have some cards that I was drawn to this deck. And here, I want to show you why. When I was talking about love, I was drawn to this deck here. And it was mostly because of the picture on the front, which is actually a card within the deck that is, it's like a chariot. It's like the movement card, but it's movement and love. Okay? Now, when I looked at this card, I picked up the deck. I picked up the deck. And I started shuffling and just kind of focusing on meditating on the message. What is the message, guides? Because I feel it has something to do with love. And in my messages, Spirit talks a lot about self-love. In this case, guys, this is about relationships. A relationship with someone else, or in whatever way that resonates with you guys. Like I said, this is a general reading, so it may not resonate as romantic. It could be a sibling, it could be a friend, whatever it is. The bonds will be strengthening, guys. Because when you come to that place where you realize something has to shift, you open your heart up and you open yourself up to change, for something better. Could be you're in a relationship that hasn't been the best, but maybe now that you open up and you try to see in a more pure way, whatever it is you haven't seen before, it brings in an energy of renewal. Or maybe your bond with your divine creator is strengthening. Maybe your spiritual bond is strengthening. Maybe it's a mother and child, or a father and child, but I feel female energy here. Maybe as a parent, your bond is strengthening with your children, or for some of you with your pet, dog or cat or whatever it is. It's because you open yourself up, guys. You are the authority that says, all right, let's get this thing rolling here. Maybe something has been stagnant and it needs to move forward. Let's move this along. Let's open up that energy, that heart, to bring in more love, strengthening that bond within yourself. See? You can shift your situations with your willingness to open up to whatever is in the highest good for you. It's not always easy to do, because sometimes, we fear that if we do that, if we offer that up, maybe whatever situation you've been in, maybe it has to end. Maybe it has to strengthen. Maybe it has to be revitalized. But you won't know if you stay stagnant, and you won't know that if you resist. And so here, Archangel Haniel comes in to say, just breathe. Breathe through it. For those of you who are women who have been in childbirth, some people have taken whatever those birthing classes are. They teach you that a big key to getting through the process of childbirth is breathing. And so I find it interesting that childbirth came into this, because childbirth, it's birth, right? You're birthing something. So, like the deer who just gracefully scales the fence, moving in to a different territory, we have to allow ourselves to breathe and naturally flow into the next chapter or whatever it is that we are heading into, okay? So I feel like this is a energy of like a partnership in many ways. Number one, with yourself, and allowing yourself to open up to be in a partnership, okay? Some of you, I feel like it's been a battle with somebody, and it's been sort of a kind of a muddy picture of how you're seeing things in this situation. And I'm not saying that you've been wrong and that person's been right. I'm saying that when you clean those lenses and you see clearly, you can't help but move into a space of strength, right? And then, so Spirit says, listen, love isn't complicated. Love is love. I said to somebody one time, somebody said, how do you know that you love someone? And they were talking about romance. And I said, love isn't a checklist. Does he or she have enough money? Do they have debt? Do they this or that? Love is a feeling, guys. It's an energy. It is something that is natural within ourselves. So Spirit says, listen, simply love. Don't overcomplicate it. Love is love. And when we overcomplicate things, we tend to bring in that energy of fear. In my mind, fear and love don't go together. That's how I feel, that it doesn't. Because love is in the purest form. You can't, how do I say this? There was a song called Tainted Love, I think. You can't taint, you can't, how do I say it? Love is love. You can't rearrange it the way you think it's supposed to be. Love is love. It's an emotion, it's a feeling, it's an energy. And so that brings us to a place of healing. When we open our mind, we open our heart, and we release the chains that have bound us and kept us from happiness and joy and stability, from the giddiness, from the laughter, from the flirting, from whatever, the support, the everything that is so pure about love. And when someone says love hurts, it's not love that hurts. It's what we throw in the mix that hurts sometimes to complicate things. And so that brings us to this final card. Love. Who do you love? And who loves you? What are you looking for when love presents itself? Are you looking for red flags? Are you automatically on the defense? Because many of us are. Many of us. And when we can come into that place, I feel like love is spiritual. Because how can it not be? True love is spiritual. It is divinely given as a gift. And I do want to say this, and this might not sit well with some of you, but I feel like the whole twin flame thing really is, I believe in some ways that it is very valid. It is something that is a unique gift. But I feel like it has become so overcomplicated and so far reaching into, why does it have to be pain and suffering? Okay, I'm going to get off that now, but I do want to say this. Love, when it comes down to it, love is love. It's spiritual, it's pure, it's energetic movement sometimes. It is, I'm kind of seeing this lake, like a placid lake, right? The water it's just beautiful. You could see the reflection of the trees, of the sun, of the, clouds, whatever, on the water, because it's still. And it's just a beautiful mirror. And so I feel like that's what love is. Don't write off love because you feel that it's marred by past things that happened in our lives. Love is beautiful, guys. Okay? I feel like I'm heading into like a love song or something, but this is what Spirit wanted to say. We overcomplicate, we overthink. We lose our patience. We dig and dig and dig for red flags and answers and questions. And why can't we just love? That's what I feel this message is. Just allow love. Allow it. Whatever it is. With whoever it is. Allow it. Because it's like when someone gives you a gift, they make you a gift out of the goodness of their heart. They take their time and they pick it carefully, or they make it with love. When we receive that gift, do we pick it apart? And do we say to that person, why did you make this for me? Or do we accept it with gratitude? Do we look at it and say, what's the motive behind this? Or do we accept it unconditionally? Thank you so much for this. It really means a lot, right? Normally, we don't do that when people hand us a gift for whatever event, Christmas, birthday, whatever. We accept it and we say thank you without reservation. Or that's how it should be. I know people who pick apart everything their partner says, or whoever they're, whatever. They just pick apart everything. The inflection in that tone, something just raised a red flag. Why? Why do we do that to ourselves? And we do it to ourselves. It doesn't just hurt our partner or whoever that, we're with. It hurts ourselves. We hurt ourselves that way. Okay? I'm not saying don't trust your intuition on certain things. I'm saying we have a tendency to go right to the negative. I've done it myself many times. But Spirit says, breathe. Breathe. Bring in that fresh energy. I want to just say that as I was kind of consulting with Archangel Michael this morning after I had that moment where I was feeling like I still had something I had to release from a past relationship, there was a card that I was reminded of that said, there were a couple here, okay? I'm not going to show you all of them because they were personal to me. New beginnings and a fresh start. Fresh start. And I said, Archangel Michael, what does that mean? And I was hearing a fresh new perspective. a strengthening bond in faith. And deciding to be happy. See? Deciding to be happy. We can decide our moods when we wake up. We can decide whether or not we are going to, how we're going to move through transition, through changes. And I was drawn to this beautiful stone because to me it represented, see how it's not perfectly clear? It kind of represented, when I looked at it, how we don't see things clearly because we're marred by circumstances in our lives, in our past and whatever. But then I looked at it and I thought, but I can see through it. It is clear in some ways. And so this to me is about clarity. It's about truth. It's about allowing yourself to see. Do I see it as fuzzy, not clear, or do I see it as, can I see through it? I can see through it. We decide, guys, how we approach things. And I know that this has gone on for a while, and we kind of, Spirit is here saying, I just want you guys to know that you're worthy. That sometimes you step in it. You step in the shit. But you have to put yourself in check and realize, I am a human being. Okay? There's energy healing that's at work here within yourselves, which then permeates to your relationships, which is much needed right now. Guys, right now, with everything that's gone on in the world, in our country, it has been very hard to stay positive sometimes. But I think that has a ripple effect if we can get ourselves, even just for a few moments, into that space to find the blessings in our life, to find the joy, just peaks of it even. That goes a long way. Your energy does affect everything around you. And so Archangel Michael says, just because there are things around you that aren't pleasant doesn't mean that you have to be in that energy too. I know people who are so negative and so full of resentment and hate and whatever. And I don't understand it. And I think at times I can probably be a little judgy that way, but it's because I don't understand. Because for me, my calling and who I am is love at the core. That's period. That's just, I feel like within our human bodies, our heart pumps the blood. Our brain is active in everything we do. And that's what I feel about love. It is the core. It is the center of a successful life in all ways, guys, in all ways. And so I feel like Spirit is pretty much said what Spirit needs to say here. So Archangel Michael says, you don't need to guard your heart so much and shield it from love. You have a built-in radar. Your soul knows if someone or something isn't right for you. And you will be guided in another direction if that's the case. So relax. And I can say that for myself too, because I haven't been in situations that were the most pleasant. And I have guarded myself. But I don't want to do that. I want to open myself up to receive love and to give love. If I limit and restrict myself, guess what? Love is going to be restricted coming in. So that's not what I want for myself. I want to have fun. I want to relax. I want love. And so that goes with every area of our lives, guys, not just romance. I feel like this is coming to an end now, this message, and I want you guys to know that I love all of you. I do. And I love what I do. I love this, that I am providing the service, because it does help me too. And so I wish you all a very blessed day and lots of love to all of you. Namaste.